So last week's meditation in this Thursday group, we worked on why should you have a relationship with your spirit guides and how to have a relationship with your spirit guides. And I had set a clear intention in that meditation to remove all of the ritualistic, so-called mystical and magical and miraculous, and you have to do this and you have to practice that and you have to be worthy in this way, ego drama around having a relationship with spirit. Because we are soul, we are spirit, we are made of the same energy that spirit is made of, and in our sacred contract with the universe, we are set up in relationship to everything before we are even incarnated. It feels like the most natural thing in the world for each and every one of us to have a relationship with spirit and as human doings. I found myself explaining to a client today that when you have created something, it is you. It is yours. We cannot then discuss whether or not you are deserving of it. So the Creator, in creating creation, or God, in creating creation, is never called upon to prove himself or herself worthy of that creation. It just is that the Creator is presumed or perceived to be bigger than the creation. And so it is with yourself. You have created yourself into being in this space. You have brought with you all of the encoding, all of the information required to be in this space, for your body to grow, for your soul to evolve. And you have done all of this, first and foremost, as soul, as spirit. For you to have a relationship with spirit is the most natural thing in the world. That with the click of your fingers, you can be connected to spirit is a game that we play here on the physical plane to get you to click your fingers and wake yourself up to the fact that you are already connected to spirit. I don't get frustrated, I get sad with this because I know how many years I wasted in doubt. I was telling Ruvan yesterday these stories about my guides and the things they would do to get me to listen, to play with me, to have fun with me, to be light with me. Some of my earliest memories of my guides go back to when I was a snotty 4-year-old and 5-year-old and I played all by myself and I didn't engage with other children except as a teacher, and I used to help them do their homework. And they were all so much bigger than I was, but that didn't scare me in the least because my imaginary playmates were the right size and we had a great time together. So as loony and as different and as weird and as wacky and off the wall as I was as a kid, I still subscribed to all of the other children's notions that these beings couldn't possibly exist. And I am deeply ashamed of myself that I got to a stage where I outgrew my imaginary friends. I outgrew my relationship with spirit. And I wasted a lot of years, at least 10 or 15 of them, which in most people's books is not a lot of years, because some people waste lifetimes without this relationship with spirit. So no matter how far along we are in our evolution as soul, in whichever lifetime we're coming from, in the now moment we have the opportunity to create that relationship and maintain it. be very clear that maintaining the relationship is up to you, because Spirit has always had this relationship with you. They have spent aeons working with you and getting your attention, and in other lifetimes, when you have worked so well with them, they haven't had to hammer you in order to get your attention. In this lifetime, where we are living in the so-called new age, and we've come out of the age of Pisces and we're in the age of Aquarius, and there is a different cosmic context to the relationship with Spirit, and the universal service context to the relationship with Spirit, where each and every one of us has the capacity to be a healer or a light worker in the world, to work for the light, then this relationship needs to be a free will choice. To maintain the relationship for yourself is to be in practice. For yourself. Spirit does not need practice at having a relationship with you. They have never been out of relationship with you. This group has been meeting for 5 years, going on, or is it 6 years now? 2012.
In July.
6 years, as of the end of June, right? Solstice in June, the 6 years. And in 6 years, for those of you who are still part of that original group, 6 years of working in the presence of Spirit, of hearing Spirit being channeled, 6 years of feeling your energy systems fluctuate, 6 years of knowing that what was given has come from someplace other than Navi's brain. Now, if all of those things do not feed into your system as nourishment and validation of the presence of Spirit, then this daily practice of moving past the mind, moving past the doubt, moving even past the disbelief that you are in the presence, moving past any ego notion that you have to be worthy of this relationship, moving past any ego fear that this relationship, like all others, will let you down or abandon you or move on without you. Moving past any ego games on the human plane in application or understanding of your relationship with Spirit. It's important that we all stop and ask ourselves why we're having the relationship, what is the clear intention of the relationship, and stay on intention. This relationship is there whether you seek it or not, whether you use it or not, whether you practice it or not, it is there. But in the context of being present in this day and age, in this need for humanity, I believe, and my guides endorse the understanding, that for every one of us to have this relationship with Spirit is important. It's also important for your independence. So I was teasing Lou earlier about what will he do without me? If his relationship with Spirit or his experience of the presence of Spirit is greater when he's in the room with me than when he is out of the room without me, what is he going to do without me? And whether he likes it or not, he's going to find out. Whether you like it or not, you are going to find out. Yes, even you. Because we're not joined at the hip. And your relationship with Spirit can be worked through with a facilitator. And that's what I am, a channel, a facilitator. But the depth of it, the breadth of it, the profound experience of it, you can't do that through somebody else. It's like asking me to have sex so you can have the orgasm. Really? It doesn't work that way. Yeah, not one of you wants to do that. And really, even if I was willing to volunteer my services, I can't give you that wonderful experience by having it for myself. So in voice-guided meditations, 6 years of them in this group, and since 2016 October in the Tuesday group, we have worked consistently with Spirit. Every word, every experience in these sessions has come from Spirit. Every energy transmission has come from Spirit. If you have any doubt that you are already in a relationship with Spirit, set it aside now, because it is the most ludicrous thing to be thinking. You are not in a relationship with me in meditation. In meditation, you are in a relationship with yourself, facilitated by me, facilitated by Spirit. And when I say yourself, I mean yourself as soul, yourself as Spirit, which is the beginning and the nth degree, the alpha and the omega of your relationship with Spirit. Somewhere in that relationship with yourself as an energy being, as a light being, you connect to all of the other frequencies of light beings. The matrix of energy that you are holds all of those frequencies in readiness for you. So one of the stories I told Ruvan yesterday brought back a delicious memory of being trained by my life guide to work with him, and being trained to work with my healing guide. My healing guide came through much later after I had opened the center, and at first I used to feel like a horse. And then I realized it was actually a unicorn, but I was in a system of disbelief about this, because I didn't think I deserved to be a healer. I knew nothing about healing. Everybody else had gone to Reiki workshops, and I had no idea what Reiki was. I'd been for healing and had some interesting experiences, but they didn't sort of blow the top of my head off. So I wasn't all excited about healing. And to this day, when people say what kind of healing that you do, I say, quite honestly, that I don't know. I only know that I do what I'm told, and I go with the flow in terms of being the space that Spirit uses to transmit the energy through. I become the hands, the physical presence of Spirit for healing purposes. On this particular occasion, my guide said I was to buy a jigsaw puzzle, and that the picture of the jigsaw puzzle is of my healing guide. And when I saw the picture, I would know it. I knew that there'd be a unicorn in it. And of course, that putting the jigsaw puzzle together was actually the meditative space of learning the frequency of my guide. So Japi and I did our normal Saturday morning shopping over several weeks in several different shopping malls, because I was hunting down this jigsaw puzzle. And Japi was a typical skeptical judge sort, legal mind, who thought this was the most ridiculous thing. And he was always deeply embarrassed when I would say, but my guides said, because that made no sense to him. Or if I said to a total stranger, well, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what it's for, I'd explain to them, and he would look at me like I was slightly nuts. Eventually, we wound up at Toys R Us at the Pavilion, and I remember saying to him that this was the last stop, because my guides had told me that this jigsaw puzzle was here, in this shop. I would find it here. And of course, he didn't believe me, because we'd been to several others. And the gentleman who was helping me was a very, normal toy shop assistant. He didn't think I was going to be great for sales, because I was looking for one jigsaw puzzle and I wasn't being indulgent about a child. And I had this big lumbering giant of a man next to me who was very impatient and wanted to get on with his shopping at the Pick and Pay, where they sold chocolate and toilet paper, which was more important than a jigsaw puzzle portraying some nebulous healing guide. And after much searching, I couldn't see it. But I knew it was supposed to be there. It was supposed to be there. So I said to the guy, I know it's here. And I said to Japi, I know it's here. They told me it's here. It has to be here somewhere. Let's just look properly for it. And eventually I bargained with Japi that he could go and get on with his shopping and I would find my jigsaw puzzle. And if it was there, he would pay for it. Japi was very generous of spirit. He was happy to buy me crystals and all sorts of things. But jigsaw puzzles didn't fall into the category of esoteric tools. It was a normal jigsaw puzzle. It was a kiddie thing to do. In any event, off he went to Pick and Pay. And I'm standing there with this guy and I'm looking at all of this and I go, okay, it must be here somewhere. But we're talking about Toys R Us, which had shelf upon shelf upon shelf of jigsaw puzzles. And they had recently introduced at the time those 3D jigsaw puzzles, which are so common now. So there was this wide array and I hadn't found this anywhere. And I remember saying to my guys in a kind of prayer, if it's here, please show me where it is. All of these people are going to think I'm nuts or they're going to throw me out the store. Whatever it is, just, show me where it is. And in that moment, I could feel my heart. I could feel my heart opening and this sincere wish to find it. Connect me, and I could feel my energy rising as if it was going from shelf to shelf. It was scanning shelf to shelf until we got to the last shelf, and then it moved a little left. And I thought, oh, there it is. So I said to the guy, it's there. And he gave me a look, and I said, no, it's there. Let's just check. So of course he had his arms crossed and he was looking at me like strange lady. Anyway, he got his ladder and off he went. And on the very last shelf, there were a whole lot of jigsaw puzzles with those little pictures of tigers and dolphins and killer whales and all sorts of animals, but no unicorn. And he looked down at me from the ladder and he said, there's no unicorn, no horses, it's not here. And in that split second, every time I tell the story, I feel that dipping in my energy, that complete disbelief that they would bring me here, that they would take me that far, and then throw me off the edge of a cliff, that there was nothing there. And out loud, I must have said, really? Total disbelief. And that moment of doubt, that split second of doubt, that spirit had left me hanging. It had become something of a prove myself moment to find this jigsaw puzzle. So the disbelief that it wasn't as they said it would be was the soul response. The really and the doubt, that was the ego response. Because my ego didn't want to be wrong about this. Not with these two men, being so impatient about this. But when I said really, the guy on the ladder took another look, and just above where his ladder was, on the non-shelf part of the shelf, was another pile of jigsaw puzzles. And as I was standing there feeling this deep sense of disappointment and at the same time going, but it must be there. They said it would be. It must be there. And I had to cling to the faith. I had to find myself in that moment of doubt going right back to faith and holding on to my faith. And he was saying, oh wait, here's one. And it was exactly what I was looking for. For those of you who use the Doreen Virtue, it's the Mermaid's Pack, and it's called the Make-A-Wish card. It is a beautiful white horse sitting next to a girl in a swimsuit. They are both looking into a lake, and the reflection in the lake is a beautiful white unicorn next to a mermaid. It was such a wonderful validation that it was there. And that was just the beginning. at the very beginning of my relationship with my healing guide. I had to work through all sorts of crazy instructions and follow the faith in order to stay on course with that relationship. I went through a stage where my heart would beat really fast, like horses on the Camargue racing, and I would think I was going to faint with this feeling because it was my Native American guide making his appearance known. And one day I said, "Can you not do that?" He said, "Oh, okay." And he stopped. Then he would come around with a good joke. But getting my attention and working past my skeptical brain, working past my disbelief that I would have such beautiful beings working with me, working past my disbelief that I would be deserving of this kind of service or purpose, working past my disbelief that such high vibrational beings would choose me. It took me 12 years of being in the center before I made a conscious choice to be this person, to work in the light, to be committed to spirit to the extent that everything else, the illusion of the physical plane, is suspended in disbelief, and the faith keeps me on track. Your relationship with spirit may be as crazy and as flaky and as demanding. It may push at you and pull at you in order to bring the best of you from deep inside of you to the periphery of your being, where it shines through in your outermost auric field. But it will only do that because your capacity is present to begin with. Whenever I look at the politicians, and you all know Zuma is my favorite example, because there by the grace of God go I. Anyway, I grieve that, that there by the grace of God go I. That Zuma and I are connected on this physical plane and on the spiritual plane, and that in all the grace of God present, we are one. This scares eternity out of me, and I worry about that connection from time to time. But I don't for 1 minute stop to consider Zuma having a relationship with spirit. I know that he has a relationship with spirit, or rather that spirit has a relationship with him. But not for one moment am I going to go knocking on Zuma's door and say, "Please, can you engage in this relationship with your guides? Because I'd really like to talk to you." I'm never going to do that. Firstly, he is incapable of the level of integrity required to have that relationship. If I ever introduced Zuma to the notion of his guides, within a week he would be telling everybody everywhere how his guides said this and his guides said that, and he would become the #1 psychic Sangoma of Africa. Because the nature of the beast is to manipulate the intangible for one's own good, from greed, from corruption, from a desire for power over others. And of course, no one on the spiritual realm steps forward for that kind of relationship. They step back. The world will fall silent. And all you will hear is your inner voice speaking your own untruths and keeping you in an illusion. It would never occur to me to fight with 2/3 of the people living on the planet right now about establishing and maintaining a relationship with spirit. And this is the very sad state of affairs about the mass consciousness. But we are sitting in candlelight in my training room as a reminder to every one of us to be a light. This twilight zone that we're sitting in is exactly what the mass consciousness looks like beyond these doors. It is all sorts of shades of grey. Never mind the books and the movie. It is all foggy shades of grey. People are confused. People are running around like zombies. They are taking sides, not even knowing what the side is. That's how zombie-like they are. And as the world shifts and changes, it needs more and more light. It needs more and more lighthouses to focus people, to hold the intention, to light up the pathways that are unfolding for the mass consciousness. So you, every one of you without exception, I encourage to establish and maintain this relationship with Spirit, to invite additional guides into your life, to work with the angels as far as possible. Not everyone. You don't hear all of my other clients getting this message. I haven't put it on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or Lotus FM. The capacity to maintain your relationship with Spirit is one that you have developed over aeons of time and other lifetimes. And I firmly believe, and my guides tell me so, which is why I believe it, I do not have to take you through a series of mind-numbing exercises in order to bore your brain into knowing that it can have this relationship. I'm giving you the reasonable, somewhat logical explanation for why you have this relationship anyway. I am pointing out all of your experiences of me, of this group, of Spirit in the center and in other spaces to validate this presence as it is in your life already. And I have given you a graphic example of why you, rather than most others, are in a space to engage in this relationship. If you still need me to lead you down the garden path and take you into a space of hypnosis for you to accept that this relationship is in fact real, or Rael as Azrael would put it, then there are at least 3 or 4 different meditations in the history of this group that give you an opportunity to do that. There are quite a few Doreen Virtue voice-guided meditations that will take you on a journey to meet your angels, or there are Diana Cooper meditations that will take you on a journey to meet with unicorns. There are a whole range of self-help gurus who have said exactly the same thing in short meditations that will take you on a journey in your mind to give you this experience. And if all of them teaches you that you have to have that journey before you have the experience, then please just sit down and ask nicely for your guides to be present and breathe them in. I cannot impress upon you as profoundly as I would like to that there is no special gift or magic in it. I am not doing anything to make your guides more available to you. The credit for their connection with you is all yours. And as usual, if there is anyone getting in the way of that, well, guess who? Don't give me that look. You know it's you. You know it's you. There's nobody else in the relationship. If there is, well, I don't know who that might be. God only knows. So you, all your logic, all your reasonableness, all your cleverness, all of your ways of dealing with the world, all your defense mechanisms, everything that you have put into making this illusion as great as possible and as real as possible and as successful as possible, all of those are not going to help you have this relationship with Spirit. You will actually have to set aside that ego plane identification of yourself and be willing, be open to just allowing Spirit to make its way through you. There is nothing that you can do. There is no doing. This is one of those spaces where you just have to be who you are. And that's what I love the most about this challenge. Because you see, when my relationship with Spirit, I am who I am. And they love me. I am not difficult for Spirit. I'm not too blunt or too honest or lacking in tact or any of those other ego plane judgments that have been thrown at me over the years. In fact, Spirit loves me so deeply and so well for being exactly what I am that I can look at the rest of the physical plane illusion and go, oh, fuck it. Who gives a shit? I mean, seriously, Shiva loves me. Do I care whether you do? And there is a liberation and a freedom in feeling this love. It's exactly the same feeling where in the presence of Spirit, you do the work that you do on this physical plane. Whatever that job is, whatever that work is, when you're doing it in the presence and you do it because you are feeling loved, you bring love to it. And I do my job so well that it loves me. Not just that I love my job, but that my job loves me. When you engage with the people in your life, in this presence, in this relationship, you are already feeling so loved that you don't need them to love you. You don't need them to need your company or make you popular. You have no need of them, which liberates you to just love them as they are, exactly the way Spirit loves you. And it gives you an amazing authority over your life. You are no longer geared towards meeting other people's expectations or fulfilling their needs, because that feeling that who you are is giving of itself all the time is present. And there is no greater gift than you can give yourself, other than that knowing that who you are is a blessing. After 5 years, I have still not grown tired of being awakened by the Lord Husband's voice saying, come Sajjana, the world is at prayer. Come, be somebody's prayer answered. And when you engage in this relationship with Spirit, it gives you a multi-dimensional, multifaceted way of being somebody's prayer answered. You may smile at someone. You may tap them on the shoulder and tell them how beautiful they look. You may take a wrong turn and stop somebody to ask for directions and keep them out of harm's way. You don't know. But in your relationship with Spirit, you will know that everything that is happening exactly as it should. And faith will see you through it. Not faith in Spirit, by the way. Just a little bit of faith in yourself. Spirit will give you faith. They will demonstrate boundless faith in you. I don't even know how many times Spirit has told me that I can. And I've gone, really? Yeah, let's try this. Let's just try it. I'm always saying, we'll try it. And then it's such an amazing experience. I want to do it again and again and again. And if you ask Charmaine, right? How many times have we done this? Where we've got, Spirit says, let's try that. And we've tried it. We'll do it once. And if we like it, we'll do it again. And man, if it works the second time, we're doing it forever and ever. Amen. And this is the thing about Spirit. It will bring out the best in you. It will inspire you to be your best. even as it lovingly accepts the worst of you. I have stood at the top of this veranda and I have screamed and I've shouted and thrown a hissy fit at Spirit. And they have waited silently until I was done to just lovingly embrace me again. No reprimanding, no punishment, no judgment, just a quiet acceptance of what I am as I am. In our Tuesday group, when we did the solar plexus meditation, and we were working with that inner landscape of acceptance, I accept that I am. I accept myself as I am. These are difficult things on the human plane. We are ever-changing, ever-growing beings. And just as we accept something, something else happens and we find some ugly part of ourselves rearing its head and we go into non-acceptance again. So I know that in my relationship with Spirit, it, in all of its frequencies, accepts me so completely in ways that humanity never will. It takes me at my word in ways that humanity never will. That only Paddy did. And even then, occasionally I required biltong as a little bribe. So Spirit doesn't succumb to bribery, I must tell you. Or bargaining. None of that. But the acceptance that they give me has taught me to accept myself to the extent that I can tell the world, fuck it. Or fuck off, basically. Who gives a shit? And most of all, I am never alone. We've done a meditation here where we worked with Spirit and we explained to you why you are never alone. But that feeling of living in a 9-bedroom, 9-bathroom and toilet house with one black dog and a circle of Spirit, I am never alone. Everywhere I go, I have to say, can you stand outside the door? This is the toilet. Like, seriously? I am never alone. Ever. And it is never burdensome. I am consistently in a crowd of Spirit. I cannot stand a crowd of physical beings. But a crowd of Spirit is like being floating around on helium balloons. It's a crowd you can party with every day of the week and then some. It's a crowd you can take anywhere. It's not a crowd you can rent easily, but damn, it's a crowd you can have fun at, regardless of whatever else is going on at the party. They're always entertaining, they're always light, they're always purposeful. And I see things, and I feel things, and I know things that my ordinary ego self would never have seen and known or experienced without Spirit. When Spirit flashes something up at me and points my attention to it, it's a whole new view. It's like being a constant tourist on the earth plane. There's always some adventure going on. I'm a good marketing lobbyist for God, no? When people ask me what I do for a living, I say I market God. And I market this relationship with Spirit. It is at the core of your relationship with yourself. You are Spirit. Have the relationship. You're worth it. Okay, let us meditate.